Hey, how's it going, guys? There's a couple things I want to talk about that are going through my mind. One of them is going to be Curtis Silva, Curtis what I don't Sliwa. I don't know how you say his name. Who cares, right? I want to talk about the mayor race out in New York City, right? Right now, it's a three-way race between Mamdani, Andrew Cuomo, and Curtis Sliwa. And I have some thoughts on it that are gonna probably be a little bit different than anything anybody's heard, or at least that I haven't seen on the internet, right? And it might get a little, I think if you think about it in a couple layers deep, I think you might agree with me. And then I also want to talk about the UN. I want to talk about the UN being the wolf in the hen house, and I think we're gonna see something major play out with them. So I'm gonna first start off with actually I'm gonna start off with the UN, right? Um, yeah, let's start off with the UN. So I'm gonna go on record right now, and I'm going to, with a lot of confidence, say it wasn't just the Democrat Party. It was the Democrat Party in partnership with the UN who tried to kill Trump. The UN is the head of the Democrat Party, not Nancy Pelosi, not Chuck Schumer, not AOC, not Mamdani, not Barack Hussein Obama. Um, it's it's the UN. The UN in partnership with these other entities and corporations and governments and our own political party, they were the ones that tried to kill Trump. I'm going to go even further, and I'm going to tell you that the UN is responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk. I'm going to go even further, and I'm going to say that everything that has happened in America over the past, I don't know, let's say 25, 30 years, from the Twin Towers, the terrorists, the planes going into the fucking towers, that is directly tied to the UN. All of it, everything is directly tied to the UN. And here's the reason I say it, right? And here's the reason I'm going on a deep. I'm going in deep, bro. It's because it doesn't matter who's in power, whether it was President George Bush, President Obama, President Biden, and President Trump. These really large scale things just tend to happen, right? And they don't really favor any one party. Well, forgive me. They tend to favor the Democrat Party the vast majority of time. But what they tend to favor is more of the globalist party. And it also tends to favor, um, you know, anti-populist people. And so when you look at the political our political representatives that are in power, the Mitch McConnells, the Mitt Romneys, the Obamas, the Hillary Clintons, the Joe Bidens, what they all have in what they all have. Gosh, I don't know why I'm struggling to have a thought right now. Maybe because I haven't had my breakfast shake. Right? Sorry, it's my fruit smoothie. I haven't had it yet. Um, what they all have in common is they've been in political power for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? The Dianne Feinsteins, the Gavin Newsoms, um, they've been there for so long, and they've developed relationships with the people of the UN. And take into consideration, where is the UN headquartered? The UN is not headquartered in Sweden. It's not headquartered in Saudi Arabia. It's not headquartered in China, Russia. The UN is headquartered in the great state of New York and the great city of New York. And I use the word great as kind of mocking because it's not a great state and it's not a great city anymore. I'm sure at one point in time it was, but right now it's a cesspool, right? It's definitely not a state I have any desire or intention to ever visit because it's disgusting. And so the UN is, in my opinion, right? And I'm not going to be able to provide you any evidence. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm not going to be able to provide you with any evidence at all. But what I can do is explain myself as best as I can. Over the years, especially since 2000, 2001, when the towers went down, the UN's power has significantly increased, right? It just has. We've turned over more power to the UN through peace treaties, or not peace treaties, but through just treaties in general. We've handed a lot of our you know freedoms, privacy protections. We've turned a lot of that over to the UN. Fuck, a week ago, the UN was, trying to pass a global carbon tax. And the only reason that it got blocked or shut down was because Trump was like, fuck you. Everything. If you just look at what's happening, not just in America, but strongly in America, because we're really one of the only countries that matter in the world right now. And I'm not talking about on a people level. I'm talking about on an economic and a power on a power scale level. America is one of the only countries that really matters. And not only did we establish the UN, but we invited them into our backyard. And then what they did was they went from the backyard to the guest room to the main room. The reason you're not hearing anything about Trump's assassins, the reason you're not hearing anything about Charlie Kirk's assassin, let me take a step back. Anytime you don't know anything about somebody that happened majorly, it's because it goes deeper than the government is willing to allow you to know. Because if you ever found out, it would be catastrophic to global relations. Trump knows this. He knows that is directly tied to the UN. He knows this. I don't know if they put two and two together and tied Charlie Kirk's assassination directly to the UN, but if they haven't, they're going to. The person who almost killed President Trump, man, it's so crazy. Their behaviors, their lifestyles, the type of person, they're almost identical. Even the hit job, everything almost identical, guys. And then they just disappear. They find the guy, and then they just disappear. They're not to be heard from. It's just, okay, we got the guy, believe us. And then that's it. There's nothing more than that. And typically when that happens, it's because there's a government cover up. And it's not that it's a government cover up because they're trying to keep it from you. It's because they feel they have to keep it from you. It's because if it comes out that the participants are in our own country, in our own major city, in our own major state, that you would have a complete revolt. And if you're somebody like President Trump who is trying to establish peace, and you're a big picture kind of fish, are you going to fry the fish, or are you going to try to catch more fish? Right? can you use that fish as bait to catch more fish? Right? It's kind of like, throwing a net to catch sardines and then use that sardine to catch a bass or something else, right? It's the same idea. And I think the reason a lot of things are falling in place for President Trump, where he's getting very, very little resistance right now, is because he's caught a lot of the bait and he's using that to catch the larger fish and to push his agenda, which is America first. What really kind of cemented it for me with the whole UN thing is when he went to go speak to the UN about a month ago, 2 months ago. And then right as he was about to get on the escalator stops working. And then right when he was about to have his little speech, the teleprompter stops working. But let's go back to his first administration where he spoke at the UN and they just laughed at him. They were like, you're a nobody. This is the President of the United States speaking to the UN in the state of New York, in the city of New York, in the country that he is responsible for. We elected him to be responsible for America. And granted, there are checks and balances, but we selected him to be our executor, our executive. We decided he is the guy we want to run the country. They just laughed at him. They mocked him, talked mad shit about him. How the fuck do you do that in the country where the guy who's talking to you, he runs the country? He was selected by the people. How do they have the nerve, the audacity to be so disrespectful to the President of the United States unless they feel they are greater than? And what allowed them to become greater than? To feel that sense of entitlement to become greater than? Now, look at this whole mass migration push. What is the UN? The UN is essentially just comprised of a bunch of European countries and a bunch of Arab countries and Muslim countries. And yeah, some South American countries and whatnot. Right? So it does take into account a lot. Where is this mass migration happening? Is it happening in China? Is it happening in Russia? Is it happening in Iran, North Korea? You understand? This mass migration and this push for sending people all over the place and transporting them, and it being done through global NGOs and global governments, isn't it ironic that it only involves the countries that participate in the UN? Isn't it ironic? It only involves the countries that participate in the UN. It doesn't involve anybody that doesn't participate. And the reason for that is you had willing participants. Just think about it, guys. Willing participants, the EU, America, Japan, they were all willing participants. And then although they went into a collusion with the Arab states, the South American states, and so forth and so forth. And they're like, okay, we're going to flood your countries with these people. And here's what I think even myself got wrong. The immigrant, this whole caravan and immigrant wave going throughout all of the West, it wasn't just about, importing voters, importing new citizens. It was about destabilizing. It was about breaking the trust of the local citizen and its government. It was about dividing. So America is a huge country. And it is the superpower right now China, America, right? We have the advantage, but we'll see for how much longer. Right now, we're making moves to correct that, where we can get some space and gap there. But we'll see how successful Trump is gonna be at that. I think he's doing great things, but we'll see, man. If you are the UN, the United States is actually, it's a roadblock. It's a wall. It's in your way to this global dominance, this one world government. It's in the way. Russia is in the way, right? Because I don't know how deep you guys go into this, but the goal of the UN and the EU is to break Russia into 4 to 5 different states. They need to break it. They want to break it, right? The goal of America is to turn it into 4 to 5 different states as well. They're called regions, right? Or I forgot what the technical term is. Well, how do you do this? How do you break America from a 50 state into 5 states? Well, you do so by destabilizing it. First, you import a bunch of people that don't have the same beliefs as you. They don't think like you. They don't talk like you. They don't look like you. They don't want to live like you. They don't want to learn your language. They don't want to learn your history. What they want to do is they want to bring where they're from here. And as these governments participated, it broke the trust between the government and the local citizen. That's really what it's about. It's about breaking trust between the government and its local citizens. It had everything to do with that. Because if you lose all trust in the systems, the governments, the functions that allow the country to operate, well, guess what? You can come in and be like, hey, well, what you were doing didn't work. Why don't you try our idea? And hopefully you can get this unanimous consensus on what is to come is better than what is. The only force in the world that has the opportunity to do that and to America is the UN, because they are located here. Isn't it fucking weird how Antifa just so happens to only exist in Western countries? Isn't it weird how these young adults, military-aged people, just so happen to, I don't know, have all the equipment they need, all the supplies they need, all the funding they need, all the strategics, the operational structure they need to go, and all the lawfare they need to protect them and keep their ass out of jail? Isn't it ironic how they have everything they need to do what they are doing and be protected? Who is organizing them? Who is funding them? Who is the head of that snake? And yeah, they're throwing out some names like Reid Hoffman and blah, blah, blah. Those people are nobody. Those people are not the head of the snake. Those people are active participants. Nicotine. But who's the head of the snake? Where did Mamdani come from? Who is Mamdani? How did he become a citizen about 8 years ago? How did he become an assemblyman not too long after that? And how is he the front runner for the mayor of New York? Where did Obama come from? It's an identical story, right? Identical. Mamdani is Obama. They're the same people. How did Obama come to power? Nobody knew about him. He didn't exist up until a year before he ran for president. He was a nobody. He was Mr. Choom Gang. Where did he come from? How did a Kenyan-born person somehow make their way to America, end up in the right places with the right people, and just be able to gain so much power? Where did AOC come from? Rashida Tlaib? Where did they come from? That other one, Ilhan Omar? How are these people able to come to America? They're not even citizens. They weren't born here. Get naturalized. And all of a sudden, they're able, within years, to get to the highest positions of power. All their stories are identical. All of their stories are identical. How does this happen? And forgive me, Jasmine Crockett is if I mention her name, you can exclude her. Their stories are identical, guys. Well, who's able to craft these stories? Who's able to build a profile? Who's able to fund and organize to get these no-name people that aren't even American citizens born and bring them over, filter them out, screen them out, and push them to positions of power to fund that? Are you following me? It's not by accident. Our country was sold out. It was sold out by the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, but primarily the Democrat Party and the old heads of the Republican Party. And it was sold out to the UN, which is what we created. And now the UN is doing what the UN was designed to do. The UN, in my opinion, is who was responsible for the attempted assassination, for every attempted assassination of Trump, President Trump. The UN was responsible for the murder and assassination of Charlie Kirk. They had to get rid of him. Getting rid of him was extremely important because he was single-handedly not just awakening the youth, but he was pushing the message of Jesus Christ, Christianity. The one world religion that has been chosen to be used is Islam. Islam, not Muslim. Islam has been the chosen religion of choice by the global elite, which is why you see the Vatican shifting, which is why you see a lot of these governors shifting to tailor-make everything towards Muslims. It is their religion of choice. And the reason it's their religion of choice is because, well, it's one of hypnosis. What do? They pray 5 times a day. Where do they pray? Everywhere. They'll stop in the middle of the street to pray. They'll be on board of a plane, get in the middle of an aisle and pray. They will anywhere that makes no sense. They can be in the middle of a meal, get in the middle of the floor. They can be cooking a meal, get in the middle of the floor and just start praying. I'm not trying to demean the religion of Islam. What I am saying is it's a religion where it's very coercive. It's a religion where you can't help to fall victim into a cult-like mentality because that is what the rituals are trained to do. Christianity is not that. Christianity is taught that when you talk to God, do it on your own private time. There's never a wrong time to speak to God, but you should do that when you're alone, so you can be at peace, and you can your brain is at some form of silence, so you can talk directly to God. That is not Islam. They're just told to pray. Pray. The clock's ticking, my guy. Clock's ticking. 11. It's 10:59 and 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds. Oh shit! Let me get my carpet. Oh, I don't got a carpet. Let me just pray right here. You understand? Like, the religion of Islam has been the chosen religion, and that's why you see this shift from all these Western countries to accommodate everything Muslim Islam. You look at the EU, you look at what Keir Starmer is doing, you can just look across the board, guys. Everything is being tailor-made for the Islamic religion. And they're trying to push out Christianity, Catholicism, any other religion, they're trying to push it out. They're trying to get rid of it. Charlie Kirk had to die because he was pushing Catholicism. He was pushing Christianity. He was pushing the name of God. He didn't die because of his ideology when it came to politics. He died because the young were waking up to the religion of Christianity and Catholicism. You just can't. Once the one world religion was selected, anything that stands in its way, well, it had to be removed. He was killed because of his religious beliefs spreading throughout all of the youth. That is my firm belief. That is my firm belief. Now, I want to talk about Curtis Sliwa, Andrew Cuomo, Mamdani. This is my opinion. Agree with it or not, I don't care. Andrew Cuomo is Mamdani. They're the same people. There is no daylight between an Andrew Cuomo and a Mamdani. And I only just say Mamdani because I don't know what his first name is. So I just keep referring to him as Mamdani. They are the same people, guys. So there's a lot of calls for Curtis to get out the race and allow Cuomo an opportunity to win so that Mamdani doesn't win. You know what, guys? Fuck that. Absolutely not. I would rather have Mamdani over Andrew Cuomo because we already know what you get with Andrew Cuomo. We already know. We've read that book. We saw what he did. Mamdani, he is Andrew Cuomo. He's the same person. They're identical. They were born and bred. They were molded by the same people, by the same organizations, the same institutions. These are people that were hand-selected for positions of power by the UN and the Democrat Party. There is no daylight between them. And I don't think for 1 second that by Curtis dropping out, it's going to help New York be in a better position, because whether Andrew Cuomo gets into power or Mamdani gets into power, you're going to end up with the same result because they are the same people. And I also don't agree that if Curtis Sliwa doesn't get out of the party, it's a guaranteed win for Mamdani. I don't agree with that. I don't align with that thought process. And the reason I don't is real simple. Mamdani, well, he's appealing to the young Democrat voter. Andrew Cuomo, he's appealing to the old Democrat voter. You see, the Democrat Party is what's broken right now. The Republican Party in New York is not broken. So, by Andrew Cuomo and Mamdani remaining in the race, what's going to happen is they're going to split Democrat vote, which gives Curtis Sliwa the advantage. I don't agree for 1 second that Andrew Cuomo is a better choice than Mamdani. I don't. Absolutely not. And if you need to know why, go back. Go back in time. Look it up. Remind yourself. I understand things move so fast and there's so many things happening at one time. He was a monster. He was a horrible person. That man deserves to be in jail. He deserves to be in Alcatraz for what he did. He was a horrible, horrible person. The things he did, the things he said. He said there is no place for conservatives in New York. Get out. He ruled with an iron fist against conservatives and Republicans. He weaponized the DOJ before weaponizing the DOJ was cool. He killed grandparents by sending them around other sick grandparents and then isolating them. He knew what was going to happen and he still did it. He kept schools closed longer than anybody else. Everything that was wrong and bad about COVID was the direct result of not just him, but people like him. When he had a taste of ultimate power, he ate it up. But somewhere along the way, he made a mistake. He made a grave mistake, and he thought he was greater than those above him. And so, like any power-hungry person, he started challenging them. And so what did they do? They took him out. And if they weren't able to take him out politically, like they did, they would have tried to kill him. They would have put a Charlie Kirk on him. Just the same way they tried putting a Charlie Kirk on Trump. Is there a possibility Andrew Cuomo's changed? Maybe, yeah. I'm not willing to get on that ride. I don't think most people are. I don't know too much about Curtis Sliwa, but I do know if it's a 3-party race, he has a good chance of winning because it's not the Republican vote that's fractured. By Andrew Cuomo staying in the race, it's the Democrat vote that's fractured. It's them. It's not the Republican Party. So, all I'm saying is all these calls for Curtis Sliwa to get out the race are nonsense. That is being paid for. That is being propagandized by the mainstream media. Who is pushing the hardest? The mainstream media. Who is in control of the mainstream media? The Democrat Party. Who controls the Democrat Party? The UN. You understand? Either way, the UN wins because it's both of their candidates. Andrew Cuomo is Mamdani. Mamdani is Andrew Cuomo. And by doing their best to intimidate Curtis into stepping down, assures that they win no matter what. That is my opinion. It might sound cuckoo to some of you. I don't care. But let's just think about that. New York is what, a 60-70% Democrat state? Let's just say 60%. It's probably more than that, but let's just say 60%. Let's say you split the Democrat vote evenly. the young Democrats vote for Mamdani, the old Democrats vote for Andrew Cuomo. That's a 35%, right? Curtis Lewa, he takes all of the Republican vote, 35%. You possibly have a runoff, a three-way tie, and it's coming down to percentages, very fractional percentages. I'm sorry, I did the math wrong. So let's say it's 65%, right? Let's do 65. Mamdani gets 32.5. Andrew Cuomo gets 32.5. Well, guess what? Curtis Lewa gets 33, 34, 35. He wins. All these calls for Curtis Lewa to drop out are strictly calls for him to drop out because people are seeing it as Andrew Cuomo as a better option. When you see it on, from like a individual basis, from people like you and me, maybe even from politicians, because they're thinking that Andrew Cuomo is the lesser of two evils. But when you see it on the mainstream level, the mainstream or the legacy media, is because they're trying to propagandize you, and it's working. It's working because conservatives are out there being like, "Oh no, we got to protect ourselves. Vote for Andrew Cuomo." It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. How the fuck is a vote for Andrew Cuomo going to assure anything positive for Republicans and conservatives? The only way you could think that is if you've been propagandized and they've made you forget everything that bastard, that fucking demon, did during his tenure as governor, or mayor, I'm sorry. I don't know too much about Curtis. I've heard a lot of good things. I've read a lot of good things about him. He wears that retarded ass red beret, which he should take off. It's a retarded ass red beret. This isn't the 70s, bro. And to be honest, that red beret, like, I understand it. It has symbolic gesture to it, or symbolism. I understand. But all the people that remember that symbolic, symbol, they're all his age. They're all old. They're all dead. That red beret doesn't impress anybody today. Nobody cares what you did 20, 30, 40 years ago, bro. Take it off. It just looks dumb. It makes you look like a fucking, like some crazy cult person. Might as well put a burqa on, or one of those stupid hamakas. That's how stupid it looks. I understand why he wears it. It's because he's trying to remind people of things he did back in the day to try to keep his neighborhood safe. I respect that, bro. But that was back then. Back then is not now. You need to appeal to people now. And by wearing that red hat, you're not appealing to people today. You're trying to appeal to people from yesterday. I reject these calls for him to step out of the race, because by him staying in the race, it is not hurting him. It is going to hurt Andrew Cuomo and Mamdani. They are going to be splitting that Democrat vote. And if the Republican base holds steady and they can get some independents and a very few amount of Democrats, which I think they can, because I think a lot of Democrats are shifting towards independence or even towards conservatism, because they're like, man, I can't do this. The level-headed ones. He has a good chance of winning. That's just my opinion. But keep in mind, if he does win, there's a good chance they try to kill him. Because New York is extremely important to the global takeover of America. They need to fractionalize it. They need to fractionalize America. If Curtis looks like he's about to win, or if he's in the process of winning, or let's just say he wins, I hope they get security protective detail on him so fast, because they're going to try to kill him. And it's not going to be the Democrat Party. It's going to be the UN in partnership with the Democrat Party, because they need New York. They cannot allow New York to go red, or not go in the direction that they don't need it to go. You understand? If they lose New York, their global government, their takeover of America is over. That is my opinion. They need New York. So here's my plea to President Trump. Here's my plea to him. Take the National Guard. Take them. Arm them. March into the UN and get rid of every single one of those fucking people. All of them. Their staffers, every fucking person. And deport their ass home. As soon as you do that, go full code red with our military. Put up missiles, deploy our submarines, put our ships, activate every National Guard on standby. And then take TNT and blow that fucking building up. Demolish it. Turn it to rubble. That is my plea to President Trump. The only way we take America back is by getting rid of the fucking UN and getting them out of America. Every single one of those bastards. But when we do that, we are essentially declaring our national state back. That is going to trigger effects and ripples across the globe. And we need to be ready for what might come. But as a proud American, I would be happy to fight that fight. I would be happy to die on that hill. That is my plea to President Trump and to whoever may listen to this. Thank you for your time. Forgive the cuss words. Forgive my proclivity to nicotine. Sorry this video started off a little rough. I haven't had my fruit smoothie for breakfast, and that made my brain a little slow. And guys, every time something happens, don't take the bait. Just wait. Let things play out. And as they play out, start processing it. Start trying to decipher it. Last thing. There's reports of a spaceship coming towards Earth. Let me tell you something. Russia is still killing Ukraine, and Ukraine is still killing Russia. We are on the verge of destroying Venezuela, possibly Brazil and Colombia. The Palestinians and the Israelis are still on the verge of murdering the shit out of each other. There's so much going on in the world, and it's all focused at killing other human beings. It doesn't matter what ethnicity, cultural background, what country. It's humans killing humans. If there was really a fucking spaceship, an alien species coming to Earth, we would be uniting. All of this stupid human shit will come to a pause until we figure out what the fuck is going on there. It would all come to an end. We would be like, pause. And we would all be focused on what the fuck was coming on. But the fact that everything is continuing with this so-called spaceship coming towards Earth tells me everything I need to know, which is it's all bullshit. A fucking spaceship. The fuck out of here. How stupid. Forgive me. People wanting to believe what their government or media is saying, it's normal. I get it. But at some point in time, guys, when you know that these people have been lying to you about everything for so long, at what point in time do you just pause and say, bullshit? If a spaceship, guys, was coming, why are we still fighting over petty human shit? You understand? That would not be happening. We would have this unity that's like, okay, stop. Do you think we're going to wait until the fucking day that it lands here to see what it does, to be like, okay, let's pause? No. Every country would be proactive. Every country. Russia would be like, hey, Ukraine, we need to put this on pause, bro. We need to put this on pause. You would have China being like, hey, Trump, you know what? You want tariffs? Put your tariffs. Who cares about this whole trading thing? We need to figure this out. Trump would be like, hey, you know what, China, you're fucking right, bro. We need to figure this out first. We'll come back to that. Like, let's just pause everything. There's no fucking spaceship. And if there is a spaceship, they already know what it is because it belongs to the fucking UN. I'm just telling you. And that's why nobody's tripping. Because it either belongs to the UN or it's fake. And if it belongs to the UN, it's already fake. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time. Peace out.